Today's episode of Tables, Athers and Chairs got somewhat of a British wrestling legend with us. One of the best heavyweights this country's produced. It is Rampage Brown. Rampage, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the lead-in. That was a hell of a lead-in. But yeah.
Want to start off? Where did you first become infatuated with wrestling? What got you into it as a kid?
I think it was about 6 or 7 years old, and I randomly saw some. I can't remember, to be honest with you, these days. I came across. I think it was sticker books at first. I think it was some sticker books, but like sticker books, and I'd seen some kind of reconstruction of some random fight scene, and like everyone was wearing like Mexican wrestling masks and stuff. So I remember seeing that, and then just kind of like already making the association that was wrestling, even though I'd never seen wrestling before. Then shortly after that came across the sticker books, like, you know, Mr. Perfect, Undertaker, and all that kind of stuff. And then, I don't know. I think I might have been staying at one of my friends' houses or something. He had like a wrestling cassette, or he just rented a wrestling cassette or something like that. I think it was like SummerSlam 88, sorry. I'm dating myself now. SummerSlam 88, and that was it. That was the beginning of the end.
Did you watch it as a kid then? And if you did, were you more of a WWF guy or WCW?
Yeah, no, I watched it as a kid. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was consumed by wrestling, to be honest. So it was WWF all the way. We never, for some reason, never got WCW. Later on, I saw like stuff on Euros, like different kind of wrestling, Japanese wrestling on Eurosport and stuff, and that was. So it was between like WWE, WWF, and like old 90s stuff, 80s, 90s stuff, and then like a little bit of Japanesey stuff that I came across in Eurosport, really.
Me and you, round about the similar age. What characters were you into growing up?
Bulldogs, British Bulldogs, obviously. Ricky Steamboat, Mr. Perfect. They were definitely for me. I don't know, I like the athletic kind of workers, the athletic guys. I was never a Hogan fan or anything like that. I liked the Ultimate Warrior, obviously, just because he was insane off the wall. But yeah, I like the athletic Super Junior kind of style, you know, like constant movement. Bret Hart he was like real up there for me. I love Bret Hart.
When was it that you decided that you wanted to give wrestling a try?
So I went off wrestling for a little while and proper got into my football, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. And I was playing for a few teams, and a couple of my coaches was like, yeah, you know, like, you know, you'd be a sure thing if you try it out and things like that. You'd be a sure thing to at least get something. Hopefully, it probably wasn't, but like maybe they're just bamming me up. I don't know. But you know, when you're a kid, you're willing to believe it, right? So I ended up, and then I just started kind of. I can't remember what it was. I think my cousin was staying at mine one day, and he started talking about wrestling again. I was like, whatever. And then I think I'd only stopped watching for about 18 months or so. And then he was telling me about all this kind of stuff. And I think it was about 98, something like that. And then started getting back into it again. And then by the time I got to like 99, I was just finishing off my GCSEs, and I'd really fallen back in love with it again. And I remember doing one of my last GCSEs, and I'm thinking, well, sorry to swear here, but I was thinking, this ain't worth a shit. This, like, I ain't going nowhere with these results. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. You know what I mean? Because I felt at that point in my life like the world's my oyster. Like I was free to do whatever I wanted with my life. You know what I mean? It was my choice. So yeah, I just thought I'd somewhere, somehow. And again, you don't have like nowadays. You have like wrestling on every street corner. Do you know what I mean? But like back in like mid '99, end of '99, there was nothing. So that was that for me. I'm going to give it a go. You know what I mean? I thought I was still young enough to try it at a young age, you know. But yeah.
Where did you go to train?
So I started off at a place in Stoke called GBH. It was called very aptly named, but. Yeah, they didn't have a ring or anything. It was just blue mats, so like I travel all the way down there and wrestle on the blue mats, and like it was just basic bog standard stuff. It wasn't good. But it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't good. I mean, like it was what it was. Do you know what I mean? Especially at that stage, because like the scene was terrible. Like the scene was terrible back in them days. Apart from like All Star and things like that, where like you had seasoned veterans and things, but like independently, it was the rings were poor, the shows were poor, and you know, just watch. If you go back on YouTube now, you can see these. They just uploaded a bunch of old like FWA from the beginning, but not the FWA things. There was the same person that's uploaded that kind of stuff has put this UWA Wrestling Rampage fucking shows, whatever it is. And this was from like '99 going in. And if you watch them back now, I just watched them recently. They just came up on that. I was like, somebody told me about them, so I thought, I'll watch one. And it was just car crash TV. I just couldn't stop watching. It's terrible stuff. But so you can see, watching that stuff back, you can see what the state the scene was in, you know. But what was the question again? Sorry, too many jobs.
Where was it that you trained, and who were your trainers as well?
So I trained with Chris Curtis originally, but he wasn't very hands-on, to be honest with you. But like the guys who he was very hands-on was like Mikey Whiplash was one of the guys that started there, and Robbie Dynamite and Dean Allmark. So like, to be honest with you, as soon as I got there, I kind of hit it off with them straight away, and we all kind of they helped me a lot, you know, coming in. But then they all went off to All Star, got themselves like jobs with All Star and things like that, and I was like, well, like that's where I need to be. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to do anything else other than wrestle. Like wrestling was just and to my detriment and downfall, all I wanted to be was a wrestler. Since 7 years old, that's all I ever wanted really. Apart from that little element of time when I thought I was going to be going to play football, but what young lad doesn't it? You know. But the one true thing that's always gone through my life is being a wrestler. So, and I can't explain it, and I can't explain it to this day. I wish I could do, because then I'd be able to find a way to get off the ride, but unfortunately not. I'm still going, but yeah, no, I started with them. They helped me a lot. They got to All Star. I was like, right, that's where I need to be, because it's working every night. It's getting better. It's where, you know, and and eventually I got in touch with them. They put me in touch with Jeff Kay, who was in Leeds. They took me on, did a couple of shows with me, things like that, and then I went to Jeff Kay and Drew McDonald, who had the school here together, and then Drew took me under his wing, Jeff took me under his wing, and then but literally I think I only trained with them a couple of times, and then from then on it was Drew just took me under his wing and then just went on the road, and that was me. I was learning on the road, learning on the go as a kid, so that was it was out of control from then on. I just got led into it.
Do you remember your debut match, and how far was it from when you initially started training?
So I remember my debut battle royal. That was one experience, because like for the first half of the show, I was the sound guy. I was playing everybody's music coming into the ring, and I'd never done anything like that before. You know what I mean? I was freaking like 17 years old. I'd never been. Don't leave me with things like this, like things that can go wrong in front of people. Like I don't. I did that. Then I remember in the interval rushing backstage, and there was a changing room probably for like there's probably about 15 lads, and it was probably about as big as this little corner here that we're in, you know. And just terrified, completely terrified. But then I went in there, I got in there, and I just felt at home. I just felt, you know what I mean? Like it was just natural. And then my very first like big kind of like it was a tag team match, and I remember it was at Leeds Town Hall, and I just remember being petrified, thinking I can't do this. I actually thought I'm just gonna run off. I can't do this. And people have done that before, and shows I've been on like ever since then. I've seen it happen. I'm like, shit, I was there once. But again, like once you just like I've just got to do it and push yourself out there, and it just kind of came together, I guess. But just petrified, completely petrified. Just
You mentioned earlier on that you had to do a fair bit of travelling to get to where you trained. Do you think that wrestlers now have it a little bit too easy? Because there's lots of wrestling schools up and down the length and breadth of the country.
I do, yeah. I think. Well, I don't think too easy is the kind of the word, but I think it's
a lot more choice.
Yeah, they've got loads more choice. But I find the problem is there's a lot of crap out there, obviously. There is going to be with anything like this, but I just think people take it for granted now, and I think that's the negative thing. People take it for granted now, so they don't appreciate things. When people kind of, you know, you get the first match, for instance, it's like, you know, it's easy to come by these days, you know. And you know, for me, it was a hard slog. You know what I mean? It was almost like an impossible feat at one point. Like there was no like light at the end of the tunnel at all. You know, especially the first few years, there's no light at the end of the tunnel that anything was gonna. I never wanted to buy new wrestling gear because I was like, well, I might never wrestle again after this one. Do you know what I mean? Like that was literally how slim pickings there was around about that time. So like. Yes, now it's everybody's. There's wrestling shows everywhere. So there's places for people to work everywhere. You know, places for people to train everywhere. Places have got rings these days, whereas then, like I say, years ago they didn't have rings. It was just blue mats, like a gym mat, you know. Yeah, it is. It's good, but again, I just think the wrong people kind of take it for granted, but the right people take advantage of it, and then you know they're the ones that go off and do other things and. You know, eventually those people that don't appreciate it kind of fall off. So,
speaking of training, you're a trainer yourself up at NGW. How are you enjoying that?
Yeah, at first it wasn't something I really wanted. I didn't think I was, because I'd been wrestling at that point maybe 15 years or so, probably 14, 15 years or so. WWE developmental, all that kind of stuff. So like I was trained by ear pretty much with WWE. So you know, I had that. You know, I learnt a lot with them. But obviously, I'd learnt a lot of. You know, I had my own experiences of wrestling, like 200 to 250 matches a year or whatever it was. You know, since I've been 19 years old, since I've been a kid. So yeah, I never really, because I always looked at guys like Robbie Brookside and stuff. Thought these should be the guys teaching people. You know, Drew McDonald should be the guys teaching people. But then it got to the stage where I was like, well, you know, the opportunity came up, and I thought, you know, I get to stay at home more, and you know what I mean, I could, you know, earn money in different ways and stuff like that, not have to take as many bumps. I'm not getting any younger. But yeah, so then when I finally came round to it, got into it, and yeah, I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. You know, like just getting there, and sometimes, like I learn stuff myself. I would just remind myself, oh yeah, I remember that. Like, you know, it's. So it's good for me as well as it is for, you know, anybody else, I guess. If anybody else thinks it's a good thing, I don't know. But yeah, I love it, to be honest with you. It's really, I've really took a lot of pride in it, to be honest, in the last few years especially like when you're getting people that are starting to get recognised on the scene, or starting to get opportunities and things like that. It's a good feeling, do you know what I mean? To, again, just give, and I think as a trainer, what I'm giving is my experience, do you know what I mean? Like everybody can say, like, just say you do a headlock, and everyone's got their own like different ways of doing a side headlock kick or taking an arm or whatever else. But I think the most important thing is find a trainer that has an experience, bad and good. Well, mostly bad, but good. Well, that's where you learn, isn't it? You know.
NGW's one of these organisations that seems to get overlooked quite often in the British wrestling scene, which is weird, really, because when you look at the big Hull City Hall shows, they regularly draw over 1,000. You've been a 2-time champion there. For those that haven't seen NGW, what would you describe the vibe as?
Furthermore, it's a family show. It's a family entertainment. You know, it's not like family entertainment like Easy and Hokey and clapping hands and all that kind of stuff like the all-star stuff is perceived to be. You know, it's a holiday camp wrestling. It's nothing like that. It's a sportsy entertainment kind of company. You can take the kids. You know, you can take the family. Whereas I think the places that do get spoke about the most is obviously, the over 18 shows and the hard hitting stuff and the Spot Fest stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I think that gets more of a precedent, whatever, than like a family show that people are kind of like, it's passe, whatever kind of wrestling. But it's everyone works their ass off. We come out there with some great reactions, some great shows. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like I always have done, to be honest with you. They've invested a lot in me since I came back to England, and I've nothing but good things to say about the company and just the shows in general. Yeah, it's a lot of fun more than anything. It's just nice, old style wrestling fun,
Another place that I think you've got a lot of love at is PCW up in Preston. Used to be in a tag team with, I think it was Bubblegum and T-Bone, team single. Won the tag team championships over at that place. How do you enjoy working at PCW?
Yeah, no, I loved it. Like looking back on my time there, sometimes at the time it was a bit of a slog. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot expected of you, and there was a lot of pressure put on you. You know, this is what we want. Here, deal with it, and then you kind of got to make the best of a situation. But it's a great platform, great experience, great fun, because obviously being with T-Bone, a friend of mine, Bubblegum, friend of mine, going out to the ring and enjoying that with them is always a pleasure. But again, you know, even the boys in the back and everything like that, like all the team was just such a good, solid team of friends that, you know, when you know, guys like Matt Hardy and Rhino and the Steiners and stuff that came in, you know, and they wanted to work as well. They wanted to, you know, instead of just kind of fobbing it off and, you know, just getting paid and then going home, whatever, right? So it was a good dynamic, and it was different as well, because, well, I say it was different. You know, you had the 1PW thing where they brought in a lot of Americans and things like that against the British guys, but like it was different in the sense that like it actually worked for a while.
Yeah, because there was a time where Evoke was absolutely heaving, and it was the number one place where all the imports would go. People like, you say, like your Hardys, your Kevin Steens.
Everybody was there. Like I remember, there was people right all the way back to the wall at the back of the frigging building. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a big sea of people, which is bizarre when you think about it, because it's not a huge place, but also, you know, you can fit in over 1,000 people in there, or whatever it was, and yeah, it was like shit, like it's a big sea of people. But yeah, no, it was I think we had the belts for like 3 years, so yeah, it was a hell of a ride, a lot of fun, a lot of hard matches too.
Speaking of hard matches, August 2015. Team single versus, I believe it was the Believers. There was a little incident with you and Josh Bodom.
Yeah.
Do you care to comment on that?
So like, Josh had made a bit of a reputation for himself amongst the boys and stuff. And long story short, he isolated himself a lot and took liberties with a lot of other people, like people he was in, like smaller kids that he was in the ring with. He said a lot of choice things that aggravated a lot of people about a lot of our closer friends like Chris Chavez when he was going through his battle with cancer. And he made a lot of distasteful remarks just in general. And he just had a really stinking attitude. So then when they came to PCW and whatever else, all of a sudden they wanted me and T-Bone, because it's our jobs, right? I would, you know, to go in there and make them look good in front of a place that we'd worked our ass off to make a name for, right? Not just us, but everybody had done, you know, like all the people that was the mainstays of the company. So again, you know, you're coming in, you're disrespecting all the boys, you're disrespecting friends of mine, like friggin', you know, I'm not going to certain, you know, stories, but like you're taking liberties with certain people, and I'd seen that, and I didn't like it, but then when we got to the show, he'd said a few things about me, and we got to the show, all of a sudden he was wanting me to do take all his moves and make them look good and stuff, right? So then when we was talking, when we was kind of like I guess getting ready to go into the ring before the show, he just had a stinking attitude. So I decided to teach him a lesson that I need you as much as you need me, and if you're not going to cooperate with us, if you're not going to treat the boys with respect, then I'm not going to treat you with respect, and I'm not going to go out there and put my body on the line for you to look good when you can't do the same for us. And when you do, when other people have done these things and put themselves in your hands and trusted you, you took liberties with them. So this is what that feels like. And he knew that was coming. He knew it was coming. So yeah, it is what it is. We've all had our fingers wrapped for being, you know, stupid and young and whatever else. He did take it up to that. But he, you know, yeah, it's just one of those experiences. It's just one of those things, to be honest with you. It happens, and whether it's unprofessional or not, it's, you know, I've seen a lot of unprofessionalness out of him in the last years building to that. So yeah, I don't regret it. You know, I mean, I guess afterwards he came and he apologised and I got my point across, he got his point across, I got my point across, and he explained his actions a little bit and whatever else, and we left after that. Okay, you know, thank you, and you know, hopefully, just you know, the thing is as well, that is one thing I did say to him. I said, you go and do this in Japan, it's going to be 10 times worse. Look at Dirt Bike Kid. Do you know what I mean? Whatever the situation there was, but it's going to be 10 times worse, and I know that's where you want to be going. So I'm saying rein it in now, and then that will happen there. But I mean, I don't know what happened when he went to Japan, so I don't know.
You spent some time at FCW,
Yeah.
which was the WWE's developmental system before it became NXT. How was that as an experience overall?
Overall, it was a good experience, a life experience. You know, foreign country. Yeah, just been in an environment that you just feel like an overwhelming environment, but then trying to learn how to get your head above water and swim with the sharks almost, you know. So that was definitely a good experience in that way. But yeah, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from a lot of great wrestlers like Ricky Steamboat. Always took me under his wing and took time with me and stuff. And helping me with just so many little things, Regal as well, and you know, it was always helping me with stuff. But yeah, just it was a good experience, but it just wasn't really for me. It was,
You're still on the network anyway.
Oh yeah.
ECW.
Yeah, so that was like 2008, so about 2 years before I got signed.
All right, okay.
Yeah, that was just.
Was that when they were over in the UK?
Yes, Manchester, Evening News Arena, yeah. It's mad because, like, literally, I think about 2.5 hours after that match, I was in a field walking my dog. I just got home, I was like, what the fuck is that? And my dog took out for a while, I'm just standing in the middle of the field, at 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever, just walking my dog and thinking, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? I was just in Manchester Arena, you know, Evening News Arena, in front of 20,000 people, like, it's like kind of like been on the Friends set, because you see the ring, you see the crowd, and you see Mark Camp set up the same thing.
Hall of Famer as well, Mark Henry.
Well, that was another. The next thing was, yeah, like, you know, you've been in the ring with, and again when he was grabbing me and stuff, it was like, whoa, this is a different level of like strength. You know what I mean? This is a different level of human being as well. You know, big wake up call, and it was again another hell of an experience just to stand there, and, you know, see the crowd and just kind of. And then his music come on, and I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing?
Another place that I'd say that you're very popular in is Progress. Former Progress champion and the first ever Atlas champion. I can remember when you went away from Progress for a little while, and I think you were away for something like 16, 18 months, and I believe it was a show in Sheffield, and you got an absolute monster pop when your music hit. How did that feel?
Just overwhelming. It blew me away. Like, I think that's the loudest I've ever heard. Would that be the equivalent of the Road Warrior pop? I don't know. That we hear so much about.
The Rampage.
The Rampage pop. I like that. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I couldn't believe it. It was one of those, like, I was getting ready to go out, and there was a friend of mine, Screwface Jamie Ahmed, he'd come along, he was backstage with us. He was standing there, and then the music came on, and then they kept erupting, and it was getting louder and louder and louder, and I was just like, I'm thinking, do they think it's somebody else? Like, in my head, I'm thinking, I hope they, like, I'm going to disappoint them as soon as I walk out, but he just kept going on and shit, and then I got to the ring, and I nearly fell off the ropes. But for the first time in all the times I've ever gone on the ropes, I nearly fell off. But it had to be that one, didn't it? But yeah, no, it was... It was a bizarre experience, but again, you know, a very warming experience to know the people. And to be honest with you, deep down, I think it's the music that did it. It wasn't me. It was a song. But I think that was the only reason anybody popped for that was because of the music. But yeah, no, it was again something that I'll take away forever, and I'll always have that memory. You know.
How did you enjoy the Atlas division? Because that was like. In wrestling in the UK, it is primarily smaller lads, whereas I imagine that big lads wrestling, as it was dubbed, It's certainly your wheelhouse. You had some good battles with some big lads there. How did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was funny because like for all these years I've been, you need to get bigger, so like, and then when I got to like WWE, oh, you're too small. And I come back and I'm too big again, and no one's interested in bigger guys, are interested in this and stuff, right? But yeah, like guys like myself and I think Mastiff and T-Bone and guys.
I think Yestin Reese was in it.
Yes, and Reese, yeah.
I can remember you wrestling. It was a very short match, but it was possibly one of the best chapter matches I'd seen up to that point. I believe somebody was injured and Trent Seven took their place.
Oh yeah, me and Trent, yeah.
It was literally just like a 5-minute match where you just knocked 7 bells out of each other.
I remember that, yeah. But yeah, I think that's when we started kind of getting some steam about like, oh, you know what, big guys can actually be entertaining, I guess. But then when they came up with the belt and the idea of it and stuff, and it was like the hard-hitting All Japan style of yesteryear that division was kind of built on. Again, it just brings a different element to the show, and it gives guys like myself an identity there as well, and to be the first champion, like I took a lot of pride in it, to be honest with you, and still do to this day. That I was the first one, and I took a lot of pride in that belt, in that division itself. It's a shame that it came to what it did, to be honest with you.
I think they just run out of big lads.
Yeah, well, there's plenty out there. There's plenty still out there, but that's sad, isn't it? You know what I mean? If that is the case. But yeah, it's a shame that it kind of. I mean, there was comedy matches towards the end, wasn't there? I don't know. Was he? I think I saw a comedy match.
I'm not too sure.
But anyway, I digress. I'm being an old grumpy bastard now. But yeah, so it's just a shame that it fizzled out, really, because, I mean, why?
Did you enjoy Brixton?
Yeah, loved it. But then I got hurt really early on, could barely walk. You could probably tell if you watch it back. Like, I could barely use this left, I think it was my left leg. It just went on me completely after a stupid move, which I'll never do again. But and I remember just being in the ring thinking, like, my body's letting me down here, and there's thousands of people, and I'm like, I need to step it up in another gear, but my body was just like, what hurt? Stop it, please. Let's just go home. I want to get out of here. But it was. We got through it, fought through it, and it's a shame I couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to do, because again, like I'd hurt myself.
What was it like being in the ring with Matt Riddle?
Again, like sometimes you get in the ring with people and you'll just instantly have good chemistry with people, and he was one of them. I'd heard of the UFC stuff. I'd vaguely seen something about him and Will having a match, and seeing him, and I thought, like, that's what the job needs more of, is more legit athletes, more legit guys like that. And I thought, it's refreshing when you see these things, you know.
Because I remember the finish of your match was more akin to the finish of a UFC match.
Tell me about it. Yeah, it felt like one too. I mean, like, he doesn't mind being hit. I don't mind being hit. He likes to hit. I'm doing my job. Putting it in too. So, when you've got two guys in there that are on the same level, and it's the first time we met like an hour before. How you doing? Yeah, cool, nice one. And then we went in there and just beat each other up.
You can swear, don't worry.
Kick the shit out of each other. So, and to be honest with you, there's no one better that I would have wanted to relinquish that belt to than Matt Riddle. Definitely. Yeah.
I think he loved it as much as you. He literally took it everywhere with him.
I think he did, yeah. And you know what? And that was a good thing, though, because I'd see that and I was like, well, he's got pride in the belt, and he's got pride in what it means, the hard-hitting style, physical style. Because I think just as much as it being a big guys division, it was more of a physical, hard-hitting division. Do you know what I mean? So, and he represented that perfectly.
I want to quickly touch on ICW. Tag team, POD, with Ashton Smith.
Yeah.
Two-time champs. How do you love tagging with Ashton?
Oh, I love tagging with Ashton. Yeah, definitely, because he's a younger version of me, so he can do all the way.
I think the first time I remember seeing you and Ashton was actually at the World of Sport pilot episode.
Yeah. They just they'd seen us. The ITV guys was a big wrestling fans, you know, was putting it all together, and they'd seen me and Ashton tagging together at a Future Shock show against T-Bone and James Drake, I think it was. And I think that's where they kind of got the idea for that. I don't know if they thought we was normally a tag team or whatever. So they approached us, give us the rundown. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And then that was a great experience, a lot of fun. ICW decided to run with it and step it up a level, make it a little bit more us, you know, the way we kind of want to do things. It's been great. They've took us in so well, and it's it's been a good ride, a good experience, and just them having the faith in having us, you know, putting us in positions that we are in, and I'm proud to be a part of the family there. To be honest with you, it's a good place.
ICW fans pretty notorious for being rowdy, pretty notorious as well for being I wouldn't say critical, but difficult to please. You know, half-arsing it there. How have the ICW crowd taken to you?
Well, I mean, they hate us.
You're doing your job then.
We're doing our job, I suppose. Whatever that is, it's the same as anywhere, really. I think once you get in the ring, you can't be too cautious of, you know what I mean? You just got to go in there and do your job. If it doesn't please some people, it doesn't please some people. If it does, then, you know, whatever. That's what you're there for, do you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's going to buy you, not everybody's going to appreciate you. But I mean, they're always, especially when we're in the garage, they're always involved. I think that's the thing with Glaswegians, with them being and Scottish, because my granddad's Scottish, so I know he was a very rough man. I know that they appreciate that physical style, they appreciate the grittiness, and they appreciate the edginess and stuff like that, and I think that's something that me and Ashton kind of bring a lot of, so I think it's a pretty decent fit, you know. Obviously, like Dallas and stuff thought it would be, but we'd be a good fit there, so
Mentioned the World of Sport pilot, might as well go on to World of Sport. You were the World of Sport champion. It was on ITV for a bit. How was that whole World of Sport experience, and do you know whether it'll be coming back?
The experience itself, it was like we filmed it over 4 days or something. It was great.
That was in Norwich, wasn't it?
Yeah, Norwich. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, they treated us really well. Everything was just it was just fun. It's a good team environment. Like everybody was. What you get a lot of these days in wrestling, well, not these days, but in general in wrestling, is everyone's out for themselves. Everyone's trying to up somebody else and stand on somebody else's back to put themselves out there and put themselves over. But with that, it's like everybody wanted to succeed, because if one succeeded, we all succeeded, you know. As corny as that might sound, but it actually, you know, actually for the first time in a long time, probably ever, I actually felt like this is a solid team. Everybody wants this to work. The experience of itself was fun. It was good. As it pertains to coming back for I knew it wasn't going to be like, oh, this is this, and then it's just going to be like, here's the house shows, here's this, and then this is another season, and it's just going to steamroll and become this juggernaut of a thing, right?
Well, there was house shows, wasn't there?
There was, but it was months later, and you know, it wasn't capitalised at, like, you know, maybe the house show should have been in October instead of January. You know, a lot of people have things to do. People, you know, forget about things. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a casual wrestling fan and you start watching it and you get into it a little bit, whatever else, and then it finishes, and then you just kind of forget about it and go on to something else because the football's on next week, or this is coming up, or you've got a wedding that you've got to get ready for, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. And then January comes around. If you're not looking on Twitter at wrestling, you don't know it's there. So I think that's a problem. That was a problem. I have no idea what the plan is going forward. They never tell wrestlers because we're the last to know everything, which is, to be honest with you, probably a smart thing, because telegram, telephone, tell a wrestler, everybody knows about it. But I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Want to finish with more recent things. Want to talk Defiant. It's a company that you've been in since the very beginning, when it was back as a WCPW. How did you first get involved with WCPW?
They just approached me out of nowhere. Yeah, they just approached me out of nowhere, and as they did with I think everybody, and they said that this is our vision, this is what we want. Who do you think we should use? Blah 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 blah, and this is the plan. And it was just a plan basically for the first couple of TV tapings. And can we send some of our lads down to film something with you at your training school? And I was like, all right, whatever. So I didn't really, because I didn't watch the What Culture videos or anything like that and whatever. So they turned up and I'm just like, I've got a class to teach, can we just make this fast? And we went out there and we filmed this thing and they just said, just stand there and look angry. So I was like, okay. And then we did the tapings and things like that. And it was actually good, it was a good team of guys, it was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it, and then from then on it just kind of escalated and it got bigger and it got bigger. And
It has grown massively from when it started.
It got ridiculous. You know, Milton Keynes Ice Palace, wherever it was, you know, and you're sitting there and like the place is pretty much sold out, and you've got Kurt Angle versus Cody Rhodes, you know, in the middle of the ring.
The whole World Cup thing as well.
The whole World Cup thing, the matches that you're never going to see anywhere else, you know, when they was bringing in like, you know, he was getting Will versus Rey Mysterio. When are you going to see that, you know? So
especially in today's climate now with AEW and things like that.
Exactly. So like at the time it was, I think in a way it kind of spoiled a lot of wrestling fans, but on the same note, it was what was wanted, it was what was expected, and it was what happened. So, yeah, I suppose spoil's not the right. But I think it's difficult now having to go back a little bit because obviously they don't have everyone's contracted now, so you can't pull these people in and put them in a match. You know, so now it's a little harder to kind of keep that going. So you've got to kind of change directions and do something else. But yeah, at one point it was monumental.
I think a lot of indies are having that issue at the minute. I think it's kind of similar to football, like you're losing your players to end quote bigger teams, and a lot of places have got to kind of rebuild their squads.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, everyone's trying to rebuild their squads, and it's not easy. And I think a lot of teams have packed in. You know what I mean? A lot of teams are slowing down and are starting to kind of admit defeat, which is pretty poor, really. You know, especially after the last 7 years or so, like what everybody together had built. You know, promoters, wrestlers, and everybody the likes. You know, like they built such a great scene that was kind of getting people's attention. It was getting eyes, and now it's just kind of turned on its back and given up. What it looks like, what it feels like.
Do you think that this is like the plateau, the British scenes?
It was coming. It always goes, and you know, and I think now it's got a stranglehold on it. So I think now it's getting choked out a little bit, and I think it's gonna fade out. Things are gonna change. Climate's gonna change. But then a couple of years time, probably, I'll be long gone. I'll be playing five-a-side football on a Sunday morning. Like by that point, I'll not be a part of it, but yeah, I think it's been choked out now. I think it's about to tap. It's reaching for that bottom rope, but it's not getting.
I'm gonna throw some names at you. I just want you to say the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
Nathan Cruz.
Gobshite.
Justin Sizen.
Very nice. Heart's in the right place.
Ashton Smith.
One of the funniest guys.
Mark Haskins.
Sweetheart.
Not just because he sat over my shoulder. Rory Coyle.
Oh, he's a pain in the ass. Massive pain in the ass. Yeah, oh no, he's a hell of a guy. One of my best friends.
Josh Bodom.
Misled. Misinformed.
El Ligero.
Pest.
Matt Riddle.
Respect, nothing but 100%.
The Primate.
The primate. Another pest.
Walter.
Hell of a chop.
NGW.
Fun.
Progress.
It's got a special place for me. I don't know how to.
ICW.
Again, My new home.
Defiant.
Troubled.
Last one, Rampage Brown.
I just want to go home. I just want to just get rid of my boots and just go and chill out with a coffee.
That actually leads me on to my final question.
Go on.
How long will fans have to see you destroying fools in the ring?
To be honest, and I've always said this, there was never any end game. There was never like 35, I'm done, 25, I'm done, whatever. It just, something else came along, and something else came along, and something else, whatever. So who knows? But the way I feel, maybe it's a year or two, and then I'm out. I'm gonna duck out.
Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, all the best. Cheers, Rampage.